Yo guys, what's going on? It's the LA Fakers back at it. Jamsto Jam here, joined by
Jackafet 9.
yes sir, and we're back with another NFL Nitro episode. Today we'll be reviewing the Week 10 games. That happened, some good games. Shout out to your Broncos, and we will also be giving our predictions for Week 11, along with our lock of the week, game of the week, etc. Overall, how do you feel about last week?
Overall, wasn't too bad of a week. Obviously, heartbreaking for me personally. But, that's how the NFL goes. And, we're going to get into it.
Yes, sir. Let's go. The first game of the week. What a game. It is the Baltimore Ravens winning the divisional battle against the Cincinnati Bengals. What a game. I mean, Lamar was amazing. Threw 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns. Had a great game. Joe Burrow, also amazing. Over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. An incredible duel by the two elite quarterbacks. We saw them meet early in the season and it was an incredible game, and it happened again. This game might have been even better. The Ravens, they were struggling early, to be honest. They got down by a couple touchdowns, but they ended up pulling into gear. Lamar looked really good, especially, his passing the ball when they needed it. Obviously for the Bengals, I have to mention Jamar Chase. 11 catches, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, showing that he's still one of the best receivers in the league. In this game, 1 point loss. The Bengals ended up going for 2 at the end of the game, which I think, after that Chiefs game a week ago, is the right decision. However, it didn't pay off. They threw an incompletion. Great game though.
Yeah, we'd just like to mention, it was my game of the week,
Yeah, it was,
and
right.
they kind of proved it.
Hey, my game
It
of
was
the
a
week
really
was
good game.
Elite 2. We'll get into that later.
But moving on from that, it was the last international game of the year. It was the Panthers taking down the New York Giants in Germany. I'm not sure if it's the first ever Germany game, but it's obviously great to see that the NFL is in Germany and places like that. But getting on with the game, the Panthers, they played a really sound game of football, and honestly, kind of shockingly, destroyed the Giants' D-line. I don't think anyone saw that coming. And it starts on the ground, and Chuba Hubbard, who had 28 carries for 153 yards and a touchdown. That's a great performance. And Bryce Young, he looked a lot more confident out there for sure, throwing for 126 yards and a touchdown. He isn't lighting up the stat sheets, but if he can make the throws that he needs and gets the job done, they can definitely win football games with such a limit of talent on the roster. But moving on with the Giants, it just gets from bad to worse. I think at this point they're trying to race Cleveland for that first pick. And at the moment, if the NFL were to stop today, they would have that first pick. And it's just been awful. Danny Dimes, I've heard, apparently is going to be dropped for Drew Lock. It's interesting for sure. It's definitely, I think we all knew it was probably going to be a rebuilding year, but they just get from bad to worse, the Giants, and this is rock bottom, I think you can say, pretty comfortably. And it's just 2 bad teams going at it.
My X factor of the game, Tyron Tracy, really fumbled in overtime. It sold me. That's crazy. Yeah. Shout out Bryce Young. But the next game was 2 rookie quarterbacks, a surprising win for the Patriots and Drake May, bringing it home 19-3 against the Bears. Drake May had a very solid performance, 184 yards, 1 TD, 1 pick. In the end, I'm not sure how much he's really going to get done with the players or personnel around him, but he had a better game than Caleb Williams, the number 1 pick. So Caleb Williams ended up going 16 for 30, only 120 yards off of that. To his credit though, he got sacked 8 times. The O-line was not there to play. And the Patriots D, which has like 16 sacks on the season, finished with 8, which is crazy. I was surprised with the Bears' struggles, but with a rookie quarterback like Caleb Williams, it's going to happen with rookies. But overall, the Patriots, their offense was just, they had around 200 more total yards. That's really the difference in this game. Nice win for the Patriots. I'm sure they're not going to be winning too many more games, so.
Yeah, don't ever put Caleb Williams in Bo Nix's conversations again.
Crazy.
I don't care. Caleb Williams is never going to be Bo Nix. Moving on, the next game was the Buffalo Bills getting the job done over the Indianapolis Colts, 30 points to 20, in what was not the best Josh Allen game. I know that certain people think that he's by far the MVP. He threw for a cool 280 yards, 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. By far his worst week, but I mean, they still find a way to get it done, and that's just kind of how you have to go in the NFL. I mean, they obviously performed pretty well offensively still to put up 30 points. On the ground, mate, Josh Allen, had a rushing touchdown along with James Cook. I mean, their running game for sure is just really solid and really consistent, and that definitely helps for sure. But kind of the main news, I think you can say pretty comfortably, was around Joe Flacco, who threw for 272 yards, 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. I mean, this is the guy that, they thought they had more of a chance to win with. I'll be honest, I think
you thought.
if you watched the last video, I did say I thought the same thing. But at the end of the day, if Joe Flacco is going out and playing like this, then what's the point of even starting him?
Bang!
Everyone wants AR back out there.
That's what I was trying to explain.
Everyone wants AR.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but like now he just sucks. I had hope
I know it.
that he'd be good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they both kind of suck. But
that's why I'm saying go with it. Young QB.
Anyways, moving on from that, Jonathan Taylor had a pretty nice game. He's been really quiet, like quietly solid this year. He hasn't been as dominant, I don't think, but 21 carries for 114 yards isn't a bad game by any means. But I mean, the Colts this season is just slipping away from them really quickly. Yeah, I'm not sure what they're doing, man. I mean, at the start of the season, if you guys watch those videos, we kind of called them that young team. At this point, though, teams kind of should be finding their way. And to me, it feels like the Colts are still so lost. They just don't know what to do. They don't know what their game is. And obviously, it sucks to see for someone like Anthony Richardson. But yeah, overall, it was a great win for Buffalo. That's the main thing. And Buffalo extended their lead on the AFC East, going to 8-2.
The next game was a very ugly and bad game. The Vikings managed to somehow pull it out, winning 12-7 against the Jags, in a game where they were very lucky that Trevor Lawrence was missing, because Mac Jones ended up putting up 111 yards, 2 interceptions, and almost still pulling out the win. And there's not much expectation on Mac Jones at this point, but Sam Darnold, the expectations for sure have risen over the course of this season. He put up 241 yards, 3 interceptions. I said last week that these interceptions are if they become a problem, then the Vikings are gonna be losing a lot of big games. And they almost lost to the Jags. If Lawrence was playing, I guarantee they win. Jacksonville. He has to figure out the interceptions. Early in the season, he was clean, but there were also a lot of close calls. So, if you've been watching, it's nothing crazy to see Darnold throwing some interceptions, but the Vikings somehow won this game. TJ Hawkinson had maybe his best game back. 8 catches, 72 yards. It was good to see him back and doing pretty well. A nice win, a big win for the Vikings in such a tough division. But man, they're gonna have to pick it up if they wanna like really contend for anything beyond this regular season.
For sure. But moving on, it was my Denver Broncos losing in heartbreaking fashion to the Kansas City Chiefs, 16 points to 14. I mean, I'm gonna just say it now, in case you didn't see, Bo Nix got us in position to win the game. We were like, it was a 35-yard kick, like it wasn't far, and like our backup center got completely destroyed, and they proceeded to block the field goal. It was so gross, and I hated it. But more on that game. Starting with the Chiefs side of the ball, Patrick Mahomes was fine. I didn't think he was elite or anything like that, but he did the job, throwing for 266 yards and a touchdown. That's not a terrible game from him. They did the job for sure. Kareem Hunt didn't really do well. Their running game without Isaiah Pacheco definitely is lacking a little bit, I think. And overall, that Broncos defense was able to keep from scoring many points, to be honest. And it really should have been less points if the refs didn't give them a penalty on Brandon Jones, who was covering extremely well, but they gave him an illegal contact penalty, which caused them to score a touchdown. It's just frustrating when the refs are doing that, and especially in a close game. We probably would have won if that call was the right call, but woulda, coulda, shoulda. The fact is, we didn't play our best. I did think that Bo Nix played really well. He threw for about 220 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a really solid game, especially against Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs defense. Did score all of our points in the first half and just completely fell apart in the second half, but it was just a close game, close divisional game, and I still stand on the fact that if we played in Denver, we would have won. But yeah, Bo Nix, he's definitely improving for sure, and I love to see it. But falling to 5-5 just isn't the best. But we might have a bit of an easier streak. I think we play the Colts and the Raiders and the Cleveland Browns in the next few weeks. We play Atlanta next week, but overall, it was a lucky win for the Chiefs. We'll say that.
The next game was my lock of the week, Falcons, falling to the Saints in a disaster game. They lose 20-17. It was Marquez Valdez-Scantling who had a day for the Saints. 3 catches, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. Crazy.
Damn.
And Chase Young, late in the game, came up big with a strip sack. Falcons recovered, but after that play, there was just no coming back. For the Falcons, This was very winnable. They probably should have won. One of the best kickers in the league, Young Wei Koo, went 1 for 4 kicking, and after the game, even gestured to the owner that the game was his fault. It's been a rough season for Young Wei Koo. He's an amazing kicker. I definitely didn't expect 1 for 4. In the end, that's pretty much what the loss falls to. Bijan had a great game, though. 20 carries for 116 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's been looking really nice recently. We know how good he is, though, but it wasn't enough. And the Falcons somehow lose in a disaster loss to the Saints. Shouldn't matter overall, though, because the Buccaneers also lost. And their division's pretty weak, so I'd imagine they'll still be fine, but don't want to be losing games like that.
But moving on. Speaking of the Bucs, it was the Buccaneers unfortunately going down to the 49ers 23 points to 20. And what was a very solid game, I think we kind of expected the Bucs to be competitive no matter who they play. The 49ers, they played really well. Brock Purdy threw for 350 yards and 2 touchdowns. But you know, kind of the main news was that Christian McCaffrey was back. He didn't have obviously the most insane game ever, as I would expect him not to. I mean, he is basically a robot though, so anything's possible. He had 13 carries for 39 yards, did have a really nice reception, and overall had 68 yards receiving, so he overall had a pretty nice day, obviously helping them win. Juwan Jennings also had a really good day, and I guess Ricky Purcell as well. Overall, they have a lot of players that can compete. Obviously, they went to a Super Bowl, but they've been struggling this year. Maybe, I think, did they come off a bye? I'm not completely sure. I think coming off a bye, they for sure are kind of rested up. They can get better for sure. But moving on from them, the Bucks, they played pretty decently, I'd say. Baker Mayfield throwing 18 for 29, 116 yards and a touchdown. It was a fine game from both teams. Let's be for real, if it was a healthy Bucks, they probably would have won. But some kind of interesting things that did happen. Obviously, Debo Samuel, I don't know if you saw, I assume you would have. Debo Samuel was pissed at, I don't think it was his kicker, I think it was like the long snapper.
Yep.
And overall just the special teams for missing a bunch of kicks. I believe Jake Moody went 3 for 6 on the day. Yeah, that's not great for them. The locker room might be a bit down. But also kind of the other funny thing that happened, I assume you would have seen as well. I think it was the last drive, the Bucks had the chance to win, and Nick Bosa decided to, instead of take down Baker Mayfield, he attempted to just hold his arm out and just let him do a amazing throw, which he completed. I mean, I don't know if they're just trying to sabotage their own team or what's happening, but the 49ers are just wilding at this point. At the end of the day, they still get the win. A good win for the 49ers for sure. Tampa Bay, yeah, they've just had a rough time. They have to play the 2 Super Bowl teams
Need Mike Evans
back to back, I think.
Maybe, I don't know.
Oh no.
I don't keep up with the Bucks.
Well, Baker was your guy.
He is.
Oh wait,
I mean,
he isn't anymore, is he? You're a
no,
Browns fan. You hate him. It's hard though. I
stop
get
with
it.
these generalizations. I still rock with Baker. I was the only fan that did when he left. So.
I specifically remember a
You
certain text conversation between us, and it was of you saying that he was trash.
I never did that. Prove it.
He did.
I have the receipts
I saw
on
it today.
Twitter of me backing him. You know, around the time he was
Those
leaving,
are fake.
even when he was in Carolina and he was terrible, I still had his back. You can find, you know, my Twitter, it's my old Twitter, and you'll see that I've been rocking with Baker. So don't start that narrative now.
Man, move on to the video. Move on
Man,
to the
you
video.
disrespected me. I had to
Move
clear
on to the video.
air. Alright, yeah. Alright. The next game, my game of the week, both our game of the weeks happen to be 1-point victories, so I guess we know what we're talking about, but it was the Pittsburgh Steelers pulling it off against the Washington Commanders by a point. What a game. I mean, it ended in a Mike Williams touchdown. The guy who was on the Jets a week ago, Aaron Rodgers got mad at, he got traded, and then the next week he's winning games on deep passes with Russell Wilson. I mean, the Steelers just know how to get it done. Wilson's undefeated so far. I thought this was a great game for Russ. He 50% completion percentage isn't perfect, 195, 3 TDs and a pick, but he came up clutch when they needed him. George Pickens also had a great game, 5 catches, 91 yards and a TD. The TD also was an amazing catch. For the Commanders, Jane Daniels, a very solid game, 50% completion percentage as well. 202 yards, no TDs, no picks, but he was making some good throws for sure. Commanders fans can't be too upset. You know, they're young. looked really good. It's a rough loss in a game that was that close, but it is what it is. They'll bounce back, I'm sure. Great win for the Steelers, though, as I called.
Also, would just like to mention, George Pickens, that guy, he had his crash out of the week, where he like wrestled someone after Russ threw an interception. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
I think he threw an interception, and I don't know what George Pickens thinks half the time. I don't think he thinks, but yeah, he's a dog. The next game was the LA Chargers beating up on the Tennessee Titans, 27 points to 17. Overall, obviously, it was a pretty decent win for the Chargers. They did the job, as they've kind of done all season. You know, that's kind of been their whole motto, I guess, is just getting the job done, doing enough to win. Justin Herbert throwing for 164 yards and a touchdown. But their run game was very good, over 100 yards rushing. Justin Herbert going in for a rushing touchdown as well. Overall, just a great game by them. I mean, there wasn't too many mistakes, and that's kind of what I think we expected when they got Harbaugh, is that they would try and be that team that played mistake-free football and was a tough football team, just like Michigan.
Oh my god.
And yeah, they're doing that, and they're winning games, and they are obviously now 6-3. But moving on with the Titans, Will Levis, he played his best game. You know, clearly that Chargers defense sucks. But throwing for 175 yards and 2 touchdowns. In all fairness, one of the touchdowns came in like garbage time. I think it was literally the last play of the game. So that didn't really mean much. And they are for sure missing Derrick Henry. Tajay Spears is their top running back. Yeah, it's just not very good for them, obviously. It's yet another, I know. It's yet another rebuilding year for them. I mean, these are just the types of performances we're expecting out of them. I don't think they played awfully, to be fair, but then again, the Chargers aren't the team to like blow out anyone, I feel like. Yeah, overall, good win for the Chargers.
The next game was a blowout. Cardinals winning 31-6 against your New York Jets. You know, I don't know why you picked
I
the Jets.
disowned them 4 weeks ago.
You picked them last week against the Cardinals.
I know.
But Kyler Murray, what a performance. 22 for 24, 266 yards, 1 TD. Just looked amazing out there. And it was James Conner having a great game. 113 yards of TD. In the receiving game, it was a lot of pretty much everyone, though. James Conner was a leading receiver, I believe. But we saw some McBride, some Marv. They were feeding everyone. And it just felt like the Jets couldn't do much. For the Jets, Aaron Rodgers had a poor game. 22 for 35, 151 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. And the Jets couldn't really do much at all offensively. Ended up with 6 points, so pretty obvious. I'm trying to... Have you seen the play? Some happened with Sauce today. Like, he got cooked. I'm trying to think.
Sauce got... yeah, I know the play. Trey McBride was on... Or Sauce was on Trey McBride.
He broke
Trey
it
McBride
and
caught it, and he tried to tackle him for like 5 seconds, and Trey McBride completely broke the tackle.
And then he got a hurt. Yeah, that was crazy.
I'm so glad though. Sauce sucks, and it's finally being shown. It's not.
He's not good.
He can't hold any.
Or Pierce. Yeah.
I saw Denzel edit before I got on.
Man, I'm about to start
And then they go.
releasing the propaganda. People still be disrespecting. Davante Adams had 6 catches on 13 targets. Rodgers is trying to look his way. He only had 31 yards. It's this, Davante Adams trade and this Aaron Rodgers experiment. Unfortunately, it is just not working out, and it kind of sucks because there were some really high hopes. I feel like Rodgers could have, been really good for them had he not torn his Achilles last season, but he just doesn't look like the same player anymore. Shout out Trey McBride. Good win for the Cardinals. I mean, they still lead the division. I really hope they win it. They're a fun team for sure. A good win.
Yes, sir. And if I heard right, you were bashing me for picking the Jets. Yet I believe it was you who picked the Cowboys,
Oh, no.
who ended up losing 34-6. Even worse than what the Jets lost, by the way. Going down to the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh my God, cooked. Just like the Cowboys. I guess starting with the Cowboys. Cooper Rush put up some.
I didn't know Cooper Rush was gonna play. To be fair, this was before Dak got injured. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, 13. You picked him. 13 for 23. 45 yards, 0 touchdowns and 0 interceptions.
I'm never picking the Cowboys again. I'm going against them every game the rest of the season.
And in fact, Trey Lance came in, threw 4 for 6, 21 yards and an interception. They suck. They suck. Yeah, it's not going well for the Cowboys. Rico Dowdle, that guy, he was the lead running back for the Cowboys. 12 carries, 53 yards isn't a bad game. But overall, they just can't get any type of offense, like, at all. Obviously, as you mentioned, Dak got injured throughout the week, and that was basically all she wrote. Their season's done.
Yeah,
There's nothing. Their season's over. I mean, I'm pretty happy though, because F the Cowboys. They suck. But moving on to the winning team, it was obviously the Eagles. And Jalen Hurts leading the charge, throwing 14 for 20, 201 yards, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, but did throw an interception. I do believe he had 56 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, but I do believe he had a fumble as well. Overall though, you know, obviously he does have a bit of a turnover problem, mainly like with fumbles and just throwing the odd interception every once in a while. If he can get that out of his system, I feel like he can definitely be a really nice quarterback. I feel like he's holding himself back at times, but obviously he does anything to win. And I mean, it's still a great game from him. Saquon also had a decent game, 14 carries for 66 yards. Didn't really light up the stat sheets or anything. And overall, you know, it was a really nice win for the Eagles. They finally slayed the Cowboys. The Cowboys, I think we can finally say, are put to rest. You know, there's really no chance of them making the playoffs. And I mean, for the Eagles now, with the Washington L, I believe they take first seed in their division. So that was a really big win for them for sure. And yeah, good job for the Eagles, I guess. They're getting their get back, even if they have the biggest douchebag as a coach ever.
The next game, a crazy victory for the Detroit Lions, 26-23 against the Texans. The Texans were up 23-7 in this game, largely due to Jared Goff throwing 5 interceptions throughout the game. I couldn't believe it. He just kept throwing interceptions, but they won. He ended up with 240 yards, 2 TDs, to be fair, but just not great. Jake Bates came up clutch for them. Hit 2 50-plus yarders, one that tied it and then one that ended it, got the win for the Lions. Stroud for the Texans, 232 yards, 1 TD, 2 interceptions. It's beginning to be a little concerning. He was great all last year. He's struggling, especially as of recently. It's, you know, you hope that he can get it together, and you expect with how good he was last season that he'll figure it out. Maybe a bit of a sophomore year slump, I guess. But we know what he's capable of based on last year. Hopefully he can get it together because it's rough. But nice win for the Lions. Probably shouldn't have won it, but they won it still. So, shout out to them.
Would just like to mention, word for word, bar for bar, what I said exactly about CJ Stroud last week. I'm pretty sure I said those exact things in like that exact order.
Did you?
Like the fact that Yeah, the fact that he struggled this year and that he had a sophomore slump and that we know what he can be, but he has to limit
I don't remember that. My memory doesn't go
it.
back that far.
Completely. Dog,
But
just
it
watch
is.
our video.
mean,
I know you don't watch them, but
well, I edit
he's-
it, so I see them then.
that's true.
But you know, it's.
That's true.
I think it's just clear that everyone's starting to see or get concerned.
Moving on, it was the last game of the week. It was a prime time matchup between the Miami Dolphins and the LA Rams. It was kind of shaping up to be a really interesting game, and overall was just kind of mid. The Dolphins getting it done, however, 23 points to 15. A very solid game from them. For the Rams side of the ball, it was a struggle. They had like what, 5 field goals, no touchdowns. I'd say that's pretty un-Rams like. I feel like they're always in for a touchdown or two, at least. But they just couldn't really get it going. I don't know. I mean, Matthew Stafford did okay, 293 yards, did throw an interception, and obviously no touchdowns. I mean, even with Puka and Cooper Kupp, who both played, I think pretty solidly. Puka nearly eclipsing nearly 100 yards. Cooper Kupp at 80 yards. You know, overall it was a really solid game from both of them. And yeah, Kyron Williams did his job, but I mean, yeah, they just couldn't cash in with the points. They had the stats, but they couldn't do it. They couldn't score a touchdown. But moving on with the Dolphins side of the football, Tua in not his return, but you know, coming back, still probably feeling the effects of a concussion. I'll get into that play, what happened a bit later. But Tua throwing 20 for 28, 207 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Overall, a really solid game from him, and I mean, the Dolphins have missed him so much. Like, they would probably be in the playoffs if it weren't for the fact that he got injured like the way he did. But I mean, yeah, they couldn't get like anything going on the ground. It was just their passing. And I mean, overall, it was an okay game from them. There wasn't nothing really memorable or special about this game. The only thing that did happen, which I kind of mentioned beforehand, was Tua deciding he wanted to give himself CTE again after throwing an interception. He decided the best way to tackle was with his head, and could have easily got knocked out again. Lucky, extremely lucky not to. I mean, yeah, I don't know how you'd be feeling as a Miami Dolphins fan seeing your quarterback just do that weekly, you know, where he gets himself in situations like that. And I mean, at the end of the day, I guess they got the win. That's the main thing, though. I mean, the Dolphins, there's still a chance, I think, to try and make the playoffs. They've dug themselves in a pretty big hole. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if they get themselves out. But even with Tua, they have to be playing. I think they have to be playing a lot better than what they probably have been as of recently. But overall, good win for them.
Yep. Shout out to Cooper Kupp. He needed, well, Jacobet 9 needed 20 points for him to win in fantasy against me, obviously. He failed, only getting 16, and I pulled off the W. You know, that's what really matters about this game. Is that I'm just throwing the best team in the league.
Run it back, little bro.
Hey, you know, that was my get back for week 1. We won because all my players sucked that week.
That isn't my fault. You're making it out like I did some voodoo
You
magic
didn't
on him and
deserve
made
to
it bad.
win. I had to get my revenge.
I deserve to win.
Oh.
I deserve to win that one, just as you deserve to win this one.
Anyway, here's how we did for the week. I went 10-4, you went 8-6. I think I just know more.
Oh, they
broke rule 1.
No, they didn't. They didn't break one.
Overall, though, we did pretty good. I just happened to get some of the closer games right. We both had some bad games, bad picks.
Cowboys and Jets. And Falcons.
You picked the Falcons as well. I just locked.
Oh, I did too. Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, let's get into our predictions.
Ooh. But moving on with the first game of the week, it is Thursday Night Football between the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles, and this is going to be a really, really interesting game. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this was the game of the week for many people. Maybe James or Jam, who knows? But it's not for me. But you know, you can't take away from what these two teams have been. They've been great in the Big 24. Jaden Daniels has obviously been lighting it up. I feel like he's been a bit more relaxed. He hasn't been on fire as much, you know. Bonix has kind of been better, but that's beside the point. The point is that as of recently, but that's beside the point. Yeah. And in this one, you know, it is in Philadelphia, and for that reason, I'm gonna go the Philadelphia Eagles. The Commanders, like, they've got 7 wins, but all of their wins have come against teams under 500, and all the teams that they have played that were above 500 at the time, or just are above 500, they all lost to. So it just shows that their schedule wasn't the hardest in the world, and that, you know, I think that the Eagles can just be a different caliber of a team than what they've been playing. I mean, obviously I could see this going any way. It is a divisional matchup, but I do have the Philadelphia Eagles winning against the Commanders.
Divisional game, obviously a tough one to pick. But, you know, I have to ride that Jaden Daniels train today. I have to go with the Commanders here just because, you know, I really... They're a fun team. In the end, it's hard to predict a game like this, but I think that Jaden Daniels is gonna have a game. I think it'll be a really good game, but the Commanders pull out a 1-possession victory off of the back of some Jaden Daniels heroics. The next game is the Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears. Another divisional game. A tough one to predict yet again. Packers coming off their bye. But I'm going to have to go with Windy City here and take the Bears at home. I just think the way Jordan Love's been playing, it's not all too convincing. The Bears obviously just lost to the Patriots too. But, you know, rookie QBs, there's a lot of ups and downs. I think this could be an up week against this Packers team that I'm not really sure about. I think both QBs might not play amazingly, but it's going to be one of those grinded out wins for the Bears. Their run game gets them home. So give me Chicago.
I can't believe what you just uttered out of your mouth. Complete trash. I don't know what that was. Yeah, everything. The fact that the Windy City is gonna win, and that their run game is gonna dominate. How is their run game supposed to dominate? I said they had a better one than the Broncos. That doesn't mean like I'm more consistent.
Well, they have,
but they suck. They're consistently terrible because they have. They
almost beat the Commanders a week ago.
And they lost to the Patriots.
They almost beat the Commanders a week ago. The Commanders are a better team than Packers, aren't they? They lost to a last-second miracle. They're not? You don't think the Commanders are better than the
Bears? No, I don't actually.
What?
I still think that I had the Packers in the Super Bowl. I think that the Packers are elite still.
Man, they're 6-5. You gotta wake up. Jordan Love isn't. Okay, well, Jordan Love isn't.
What are you on about? They're 6-3.
I looked at the wrong thing. But Jordan Love isn't. He's not playing well. Okay,
it's not even possible.
It's not that crazy. It's a divisional matchup. Is it that crazy that they can pull out a win?
Okay. I just don't agree with you. That's all. Is that you know?
You acting like I'm crazy though.
You are. You just said that the Packers were 6-5. I think I'm right. I think you are crazy.
Well, they're gonna be 6-5 or 6-4.
Possible.
Man.
No, they're not. Man, Caleb Williams is about to throw for 97 yards and an interception.
I get it. You like Bo Nix. Just move on. Tell me why you have the Packers in this game.
No, I have to tell you. I like the Packers because they're a tough team. They're
both tough teams.
Even if their quarterback likes to be No, they're not. The Bears just lost to the Patriots.
That doesn't. That's not the defense's
Good
fault.
teams don't do.
They have a good defense. It's just if
Yes, that is.
their O-line can have a
Yeah, it's the
give
offense's
Caleb Williams
fault.
some time.
And their O-line.
Jane Daniel or Jordan Love has been worse than Malik Willis this year.
Yeah, and that's about to change.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and Jordan Love's probably gonna get injured.
We'll see. We'll see.
He's probably gonna get. Alright. Moving on from that debacle. God.
I hate you.
As you can tell, we're very vocal about the
That was
NFC
peak.
North. Moving on, it is my lock of the week. It is the Lions to beat the Jags in Detroit. I mean, the Lions, you know, they didn't play very well. Well, Jared Goff in general didn't play very well, but they still managed to get the win. It's kind of an insane statistic when you look at it, the fact that he threw 5 picks and all that. And I mean, the Jags, I don't know what happened with Trevor Lawrence. He just, maybe, I mean, I don't blame him if he just didn't want to play. Clearly he probably doesn't want to play in this game, and that Detroit Lions defense I think will play a lot better for sure. And I just think, you know, unfortunately it's just not the Jags here. I do like a couple players on their roster, and I do believe in Doug Peterson somewhat, but their team just isn't very good, obviously, as their record suggests. So give me the Lions.
Yeah, this is actually also my lock of the week, but I just think the way the Jags have been fine this season. It's obviously not going the way you'd want, and Trevor Lawrence missing last game really hurt them. They would have had the win, but the Lions is. I mean, when your QB throws 5 interceptions and you win, what's it going to take to beat the Lions at this point? They're maybe the best team in the NFL, as some people would say.
They are.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Chiefs are undefeated, but they're playing,
Man,
they're balling.
Chiefs
So
are trash.
there's no reason for me, no way that I could see them losing to the Jags in this week. The next game is the Las Vegas Raiders going into Miami to play the Dolphins. I picked the Dolphins 3 straight weeks. That's not changing. Give me the Dolphins here. The Raiders haven't been playing. They've been playing terribly. Pretty much all year. They traded Devonta Adams early in the year. Well, not long ago. But it's just not looking good for the Raiders. The Dolphins, their last 3 weeks that I picked them, they've looked really good, and they haven't pulled it out in 2 of those weeks, but they look a lot better with Tua. It was a disaster early in the year. At home, there's no reason why they can't win, you know. Give me the Dolphins.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, I think that, you know, the Dolphins just have so many difference makers. You know, they got Christian Wilkins, they got Tyreek Hill, they got Jalen Waddle, they got Tua. They're just such an elite team for sure. Well, when they're on their day, they're such an elite team, and the Raiders, they should burn and crumble for all the atrocities that I've witnessed them perform. Okay, like beating the Broncos a bunch. That's a lot of atrocities, and for that they deserve to lose, and they're gonna lose, and they suck. They're bad. Moving on from that game, which we all know is going to be a Dolphins W anyways. It is the New England Patriots taking on the Rams. A bit of a Super Bowl. Oh my god. A Super Bowl 53 rematch from a long time ago. The most boring Super Bowl. And in this, I have it going the way of the Rams. I think that the Rams, you know, this is a good game to get back into it. The Patriots have somehow been able to get out wins. Then again, the Bears aren't very good. But the Patriots have been managing to scrape out wins for sure. But I don't see that happening. The Rams, they're just still a decent team. And especially with their weapons, I don't think that the Patriots can match them.
Just because a bad team wins a game doesn't mean the team that lost is terrible. The Browns beat the Ravens. The Ravens aren't terrible. I'm gonna just put it out there, okay? But the Rams. That being said, I also have the
best
Rams here. I disagree. I have the Rams here. They almost pulled it out. They didn't look very good. No touchdowns. Not a good game, but they're a better team. The Patriots. You expect them to win some games. In the end, I don't think they're going to win many more. They're playing for a pick at this point. You'd imagine they want Travis Hunter or someone explosive like that to give Drake May. But give me the Rams. The Patriots aren't playing for much. And the Rams season is damn near on the line. Like they're starting to fall behind. The next team is my Cleveland Browns in New Orleans against the Saints. In this one, I am going to go with the Browns. I may be biased, but I think we can get it done. The Saints are coming off a win, but it was a crazy game, you know? The Browns haven't looked good. I think they could just have a one-off game. I mean, it's not crazy to say they can beat the Saints. The Saints have been terrible. Browns defense is going to be locked in, and they are going to be able to pull it off against the Saints.
I will be disagreeing with you in this one. You know, I think I am picking the Browns a bit too much, and you know I liked what the Saints did last week for sure. I picked the Browns like the last couple weeks. So. Actually, yeah, I picked them
picked us against the Ravens, did you?
Regretted it. I picked y'all against the Chargers.
That was one game.
I regretted it so much. I regretted it.
Should have picked us against the Ravens.
Alright. No, but I'm going with the Saints here like I did last week, and I think they can pull off of that. You know, I don't really know. They both suck, and so
fair enough.
Whatever happens, happens. I honestly kind of want y'all to win so that you guys have a worse draft pick, and then therefore draft a bust.
Should've. No.
Not Frick, man.
Should've
going to the Raiders.
Jalen Milroe.
Cam Ward.
I don't think Jalen Milroe is a bust. That's not what I'm saying, but I just would like him if.
He literally just did that.
No, that's what you said. I was just talking about QBs we would get later.
No, I said Cam Ward.
Oh, I want Cam Ward. He's not gonna fall if we lose that pick.
I just watched him. Did you see his last play or whatever it was? His last drive. He's clearly not ready.
He's still. Not many QBs are ready for the NFL instantly.
Moving on, it is what many may consider the game of the week, but it's not my game of the week.
Gosh.
It is the AFC North matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Steelers, and I mean, you never know. This could determine the North, like very much could, and
they do.
I mean. They do. And it's actually maybe the toughest pick. I don't even know who to go with here. I'm gonna go with the Steelers. At home. Steelers come off a big win. I think that Russ still has a bit more improvement to do for sure. Not trying to take anything away from him. What he's done at Pittsburgh has been really nice. But he's obviously got to play, I think, a bit better than what he did last week if he is to take on Lamar and beat him. But that Steelers defense is still legit. It's still elite. They have great weapons now. They're just going to keep growing and getting better for sure. And for that reason, give me the Steelers.
I am going to disagree. Personally, I just think that the Ravens are the better team here. Lamar just had an amazing game. We know how good Derrick Henry is. Really, it's all about the defense. Can they slow the Steelers down? Because the Steelers have a good D. I'm not sure how much they're going to be able to do against Lamar, though. So, personally, I just like the Ravens' chances a little more here. I think this will be a big game for Lamar's MVP hopes.
Case,
yep. And I think that the Ravens are going to be able to pull out a nice win against the Steelers. I thought this was your game of the week. We're about to have the same game of the week.
Yeah, I know. I've said that twice. So I'm like, this could be some people's game of the week, but it's
I really
I've
consider
said it
this one.
twice now.
But the next game is the Minnesota Vikings at the Tennessee Titans. The Vikings are 7-2. I'm gonna have to go with the Vikings here. They're getting it done against the bad teams. I know I keep saying about how Sam Darnold's interceptions are gonna be a problem against good teams. But the thing is, they're not playing a good team right now, you know? The Titans don't really. Will Levis did just have his maybe best game of the season, for sure, actually, probably. But I think that the Vikings are going to be able to pull out another ugly win. Hopefully they can figure out their offense and the turnovers, but their defense is really good. So I'm going to have to go with the Vikings here.
Yeah, I mean, the thought did honestly cross my mind, and I'm just gonna say right now, I somehow would not be shocked if the Titans managed to win, but I gotta go with my brain, and my brain's telling me that the Minnesota Vikings are gonna win. Their defense is insane, obviously, as you said. It's still kind of confusing to me how their offense just completely died, and it's just like gone now. It appears they just can barely score any points, but their defense is still so elite. So for that reason, the Vikings. But moving on. Oh man, what a game it is! The Indianapolis Colts taking on the Jets in New York, and I mean, this could go either way. if you will, trashness. But I'm gonna go the Colts here. I'm sick of the Jets. Honestly, they just suck. Especially after they fired Robert Saleh for essentially no reason. Their defense sucks. Sauce Gardner, fortunately, is getting caught out. He sucks. Don't wow me, you bump me. Bang! Oh my goodness. But yeah, the Jets, they just suck. Time to blow up the organization, and the Colts, I think, can get the win. If Joe Flacco throws under 3 touchdowns, I think that, or under 3 interceptions, I meant, you know, it's doable. He is gonna throw an interception though.
I've also got the Colts, you know, Joe Flacco against his former team. What a storyline, except both teams are terrible. But yeah, I'm gonna just go with the Colts. It's a coin flip. Both teams have been playing poorly.
For sure.
But yeah, I just like the Colts a bit more right now. The way the Jets have been playing is just not good. The next game is a pretty good game, actually. The Falcons in Colorado, Denver, playing the Broncos. I am gonna go with the Falcons here. I could see this going either way, but the Falcons coming off a tough loss. The Broncos are too, but coming off the Saints loss, so I think that they will have a bounce back game. I like their chances a little more. They have a nice offense. You know, great. Bo Nix has been playing well, so that's the one reason why I think this could go either way. But I'm just gonna go with the Falcons. 2 good teams, though.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to agree with you. Psych! I ain't agreeing with you. I think that the Broncos can do it for sure at home. Obviously, it was a really tough, heartbreaking loss last week. I mean, it was basically a game both teams should have won, in a certain sense, but I think that that Chiefs game for the Broncos, though, I think it's really opened them up. I think that they're going to be pissed, and they're going to want to play with a lot more heart, a lot more fearless, with a lot more fear, you know. They're going to come out there, and I think that they can definitely get it done. A big win at home for sure. It's a huge game. Kind of speaking about the whole fear thing and scariness, how leading running back Audric Estine, the rookie, said that he's going to quote-unquote become a monster now because of that game. So, you know, I believe in him. He might go off. If he says he's going to become a monster, why not agree with him? He's probably going to become a monster, and I think that we can monster our way over the Falcons for a W.
Fair enough.
But moving on, it is an NFC West matchup between the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers. Seattle coming off the bye. They should be a bit more refreshed, but I still have San Francisco. It is in San Francisco. So for that, I'm 49ers. The Seahawks, we've seen time and time again, they just kind of suck. And they're really inconsistent, and I think that the 49ers can be more consistent, especially with Christian McCaffrey. He might get more opportunities after, playing that game and not getting injured. I think that he could definitely have a bit more freeness, I guess, to roam around and do Christian McCaffrey things. And for that reason, I just think that the 49ers can get the job done and win.
Yep, I agree. Largely because it's in San Francisco. I think this will be a really good game. Not my game of the week, but I could for sure see this being a tight one. I just think that San Francisco have more talent on the roster. That offense is nice. Hopefully, Brock Purdy just had an incredible game, so hopefully he can keep that up. Hopefully CMC can get loose on the ground a bit more in this game, but he had a good game receiving, so I expect that to continue, and I see the 49ers pulling out a nice win on what I believe will be a pretty good game. But the next game, my game of the week, it is the Kansas City Chiefs at the Buffalo Bills. F it, give me the Bills. That's what I say. I think Josh Allen can give the Chiefs their first loss. It's been a lot of tight games. I think this will be the game where the Chiefs finally fall. I think this will be an offensive shootout. We've seen how these type of games between the Bills and Chiefs have gone in the past, such as the playoffs. I'm expecting a big game from Josh Allen. I'm expecting a big game from Patrick Mahomes as well. I think they'll both step up. And it's going to be both teams scoring potentially in the 30s or high 20s. But give me the Bills in an upset. Dethroning the Chiefs, giving them an L. Bringing them to earth. Give me Josh Allen.
Okay, we get it. Can I talk now?
No.
We get it.
Josh Allen is the MVP.
Okay, we get it. But moving on. Or not moving on. Moving on to my game of the week.
Ain't no way.
It is, that's
I knew
right.
it. As soon as we got past the Steelers Ravens game, I knew it.
Yeah. I mean, how can you not put this as it's gonna be a really good game? I think both ends of the football, and you know what? I know not many are thinking it, but I think it's time for the Chiefs to get dethroned. They've been getting away with it week after week.
You're picking
and, I think that just... Yes, I want to... I'm a Broncos fan. Why would you think I want the Chiefs to win?
Allen fan. Yeah, that's fair enough, but...
We both have our reasons. No, but obviously, if Josh Allen really wants to show he's the MVP, I think that this is the game, against the undefeated Chiefs. I think that they can get the job done. He can, and the Bills can dethrone the Chiefs and knock them off their undefeated pedestal and show the league that the Chiefs aren't a team that you can't defeat. Show that we can stand up to the refs and that we can stand up to the whole NFL, and that we can show them that we can beat them. We can beat Vegas. We can beat the ratings. We can beat the script.
I can see that we both feel
we can beat everyone.
Quite strongly about the Bills in this matchup.
Do you not see what happened last week?
Yeah, I saw it. It was kind of funny to watch.
Alright, moving on to Sunday Night Football. It is between the Chargers and the Bengals, and I've been quite fond of how they've been playing, but I honestly don't know if they can go toe to toe with one of the, maybe the best offense in the league. Honestly, it's kind of crazy to say, but the Bengals' offense as of recently has been on fire. They've been absolutely cooking, Joe Burrow already has like 24 passing touchdowns. It's kind of insane. They've just been cooking, and I think that the Chargers, you know, they lack a lot of talent still, and I think that the Bengals can for sure show them out. And I mean, this is kind of a big game for the Bengals. They really can't afford to lose many other games, and I think that they can get a big win against the Chargers.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think that the Bengals are coming off a great win. Their defense is a little concerning to me, but the way Joe Burrow has been playing and Jamar Chase is coming off an incredible night, I have to take the Bengals here. Chargers have been really solid. I think they'll be all right. You know, make it a bit of a game, but I don't see them being able to keep up with that Bengals offense. So give me the Bengals. Moving on to Monday Night Football. What a matchup! The Battle of Texas. It is the Houston Texans at the Cooper Rush, potentially Trey Lance led Dallas Cowboys. I'm taking the Texans in a landslide. I told you I'm not picking the Cowboys the rest of the year. They need Dak. They haven't even looked good with Dak, to be fair. Without him, they look terrible. Texans, I don't know how they lost that game to the Lions, but I think they should be able to get it done against this Cowboys team. It's looking really down for the Cowboys, but I'd imagine they're not going to win many games the rest of the year, so give me the Texans.
Yeah, give me the Texans as well. They're just, they're a team, you know, and the Cowboys aren't really a team, so give me the Texans. I mean, honestly, I feel like the Texans this year just find ways to screw up games, as we saw literally this week. But I just can't see that against the Cowboys. They're good at beating bad teams. That's about all they're good at.
Shout out to the undefeated 12-0 Cleveland Cavaliers. Had to put it in there somewhere in the pod, so put it at the end. Shout out to Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, the whole team. We've been balling.
Well, while we're on that note, shout out to the Nuggets, who are actually looking like a pretty decent team now. They had a rough start, but now we're like 7-3, I'm pretty sure. And we're cooking. Shout out to Jokic, who is by far the best player in the game. I don't care what anyone says. I'm hearing talks now, specifically like one guy, but of people saying that Jokic might be better than KD all time. I think that's definitely possible. Jokic is just insane. He's an insane player.
I think.
He's top 5. He's the best center of all time. He's the best player of all time. Better than LeBron. Thank you guys so much for watching another video. We did kind of get off the rails, but you know, we're having a lot of fun making these, and we'd really like it if anyone watched them. If anyone's out there, you know, show some support for sure. We'd really appreciate it. And yeah, obviously, expect this next week, you know. And I mean, is there anything you'd like to say, James or Jam?
End the debate in the comments. Put down below, are the Chicago Bears a good team or not? Please, I need help. I need...
Yes,
we need another opinion.
End the debate. And the real debate is Bo Nix the greatest rookie of all time? Down in the comments below. He's definitely better than Caleb Williams.
Anyway, yeah, that's all I gotta say.
And yeah, I guess this is a goodbye. So see you guys next week. Obviously, make sure to like and subscribe if you do see this. And goodbye! I think everyone can agree though that they're pretty happy that Bryce Young got the win. Because seeing his smile every week is like the greatest feeling ever.
I'm trying to... Have you seen the play? Something happened with Sauce today. Like he got cooked. I'm trying to think.
Sauce got... yeah, I know the play. Rico Dowdle... How do you say that?
I don't know.
Doldle?
Anyway, let's get into our predictions.
Ooh. Yeah. Ooh, oh my god, he sucks.
You sold. You
Oh
gave up
my
a
god,
goal.
he's
I didn't say
trash.
anything,
He's
but you got beat.
You suck. Too busy
Oh my
talking about
gosh.
you stupid Bears and stupid Caleb Williams.
You're the reason we lost.
Sucks.
Play some defense.
Yo.
Damn.
No, that was not bro. It's not that hard.
The next game is my. No. I changed my mind. I forgot.
Disowning your own team is crazy.
No, that's not my. Oh, it is the Browns. I forgot the Browns.
Yes, it is a bro. Bro
My
hates
fault.
his team so much he forgot that it was his.
No, it's not for you. But he's gonna okay like he didn't want to save us last game.
Wow, jeez.
They left. Let me wait a second.
Yeah, get out of here, you bombs!
If they were scared, they would want to save us and then they ran when we were playing.
You don't have to keep saying the fact that the Bills are gonna win.
I don't think you understand how much this means to Josh Allen. He's got it.
Okay, okay.
Yo,
Yo, what? Denzel Washington is gonna be in Black Panther 3? Oh, frick yeah.
it's lit. Go.